To talk about that and other matters is our regular Thursday guest, Nationals frontbencher Barnaby Joyce, the former Deputy Prime Minister, who's actually fresh from yet another protest. But this time it's in Sydney's Martin Place. Barnaby Joyce was there, a protest against those ugly wind farms that are now scarring our landscape. Barnaby Joyce, thank you so much for joining me. What was this protest you were at today?
Well, it's yet another protest. We've had the Port Stephens, I spoke there, thousands there. We had the Illawarra, they had thousands down there. We've had them in the New England. And now we had one in Martin Place. And it was basically getting people from central Queensland to the Illawarra, to Port Stephens, from the New England. All these people who have had their rights completely and utterly walked on people call them wind farms. They're not wind farms. Farms grow carrots and spuds and peas and cattle. These are industrial wind factories, solar factories, transmission lines, overwhelmingly foreign owned. And it's the biggest swindle of all time. To think that these people are underwritten like, for possibly 16%, 15% by the taxpayer. I mean, they can do nothing and they just rip the taxpayer off. And we're supposed to be happy about this. And I tell you what, people are not happy now. And if you look at where they are, Port Stephens, Illawarra, so you've got Patterson, you've got Hunter, you've got Newcastle, you've got Gilmore, you've got Whitlam, you've got Eden Monaro, all these seats, they're all Labor seats. I mean, wake up, Mr. Bowen, wake up, Mr. Albanese. These are your own people protesting against you because they feel that they had their rights completely and utterly usurped. And I say to the listeners, on the 6th of February at 10 a.m, we're coming to Canberra because Mr. Bowen doesn't seem to be able to hear us. But so we'll have to go a bit closer to him.
Well, I hope they're all solar-powered cars and buses that are driving all these people there. We shall see. But Barnaby, you know what gets me is the Albanese government believes that any fake climate scare is good enough to change even our immigration intake. I couldn't believe this. Here's the Climate Change Minister today in Parliament saying we might have to take in more so-called climate refugees from the Pacific.
Climate change is an existential national security risk to our Pacific partners. Nations most vulnerable to sea level rise are likely to look to Australia and other countries for closer economic integration, including through expanded circular labour mobility schemes and longer-term options for mobility with dignity.
In fact, Barnaby, even the ABC now admits that the vast majority of low-lying Pacific islands are growing or stable. They're not sinking at all. Yet this government's already agreed to take in 280 people a year from Tuvalu, which has also grown, not sunk. Should we take in more?
Well, obviously, Andrew, what's happening, I'm happy for people to come into work here, but on this sort of premise of, cataclysm and this sort of calamity politics, I don't agree with it one little bit. I used to say it was a climate change religion because they call us deniers and you don't believe. But it's not a religion because even religions are challenged. This is a climate change cult. It's cultish type behaviour where it's unquestioned, that they won't even tolerate any form of dissent. And you have to believe it, chapter, verse, in its entirety. And if you don't, you're a denier, you're a heretic, you will be cancelled, you will be taken off social media. There will be no part of you shall be allowed to exist in the public forum, in the public square. We're on our own behalf. We've got to say, no, we aren't going to act like that anymore. We're going to have sensible, open conversations which cogent arguments that are politely put from either side are listened to and treated with respect. Because when you get this cultish behaviour, that's when they put these massive wind factories off the coast of Wollongong and these massive wind factories off the coast of Newcastle and in the New England and in central Queensland and in the Gippsland and up the Cape and take out rainforests to put them up and completely usurp farmers of their property rights and change people's lives because it's the following of a cult. Why this cultish behaviour is on, their attention to the cost of living has completely and utterly been removed. I mean, we've got power prices going through the roof, reliability going through the floor, your money going overseas, people with jobs living in cars, lined up outside food banks, they can't afford their house repayments, can't afford their small business repayments. And what does this government focus on? Climate action and constitutional change. That's where their heart really is. It's not with their people. It's with their issue du jour, their things that are so fanciful. And isn't it amazing that people who can't affect the cost of living can change the temperature of the globe? I find that a remarkable trick.
If they've got those superpowers, they can't even change the price of petrol. How about that?